Hello everyone and welcome back to the SteemTrail Gaming News. Today is the 31st of January 2018. My name is Kralizec and I will be your host for this last evening of this month. Today we got 3 stories for you. First, we're going to talk about the fact that microtransactions will be coming back to Star Wars Battlefront 2. Then we're going to talk about a fight in Alaska, which included the Master Sword from Zelda. And last of all, we're going to talk about the founder of Atari, who was supposed to be given an award at GDC, but will not be getting it because of sexual misconduct in the past. But let's begin with Star Wars 2 Battlefront. Many of you, probably most of you, will know about a big controversy that happened at the end of last year and the beginning of this year, where people were rightfully pissed off about the amount of microtransactions and the fact that they were paid to win in Star Wars Battlefront 2. This actually resulted in quite a lot of stuff happening. So first of all, microtransactions were pulled out of Star Wars Battlefront 2 even before it actually launched. Then the stocks of EA, which is the publisher of this game, fell by over $3 billion in value. And last of all, the sales for Battlefront 2 were quite a bit lower than initially expected, even though the game actually is quite fun. But right now, it seems the microtransactions will be coming back. We currently don't have a specific date on where they're going to be coming, because all we really know is there was an interview between the finance chief Blake Jorgensen from EA, who said that microtransactions will be released when we think it's ready. But it sort of confirms that they will be coming back, and I think this might be the breaking point. The question is how the microtransactions will be handled in Battlefront 2 after they are returned. Will they still have loot boxes in them? Will the model be more fair? Will it require less than 4,000 freaking hours to actually get everything inside a game if you want to play free to play? Those are the big questions. And my suspicion is that loot boxes might not be included. The model will be slightly more fair, and it will take around 2,000 hours to get everything. That is my personal guess. You know, I think loot boxes will be cut out of this game, because if they aren't, people will be pissed. And I mean pissed as hell. And it will hurt EA's public image even more, possibly taking another $3 billion out of the value, which would probably not be a good thing for the stockholders. And in the end, we need to remember EA is a company that is responsible towards its stockholders, not to anyone else. You know, if you're a shareholder of EA, if you own some stocks, then they are responsible to you. They're not responsible to gamers. If you're a gamer and you want to have even a teensy little bit of a voice in what EA actually does, you need to own some of their stocks. And even though I wouldn't recommend buying them right now, because you would probably lose a lot of money in the coming future, as I'm sort of suspecting EA hasn't learned sufficiently yet. I still think they have learned, probably to a degree. The question is to how much of a degree. There was, like, the outcry about this was happening was just giant. I was actually tired to talk about this, and I'm okay talking about it now, as it's been some time since I talked about this last. But we'll see. We'll see. Okay, our next piece of news is about a man from Alaska who was attacked with the Master Sword from The Legend of Zelda. So, the Master Sword, one of the most legendary swords of gaming altogether, maybe up there with Frostmourne from World of Warcraft and a few others, maybe even more famous than that, has been used as a part of an assault that happened in Alaska in a city called Archerage. We don't really know the name of the person who attacked. All we know is from the district attorney that his initials are TP. This person supposedly started a brawl. We don't really know why. And he attacked 2 members of his home before assaulting a third person named Jeremy Tazrick, who retaliated by taking a replica of the Master Sword off the wall and attacking him. The report says that initially he tried to use the hilt to sort of attack / defend because he probably wanted to break out the brawl, and since that didn't work, he started to use the blade. And since even that didn't work, he took out some other not blunt object, some other sharp object, probably a sword or a knife, and yeah, stabbed TP a few times. So right now he's arrested, being charged with 4th degree assault and reckless endangerment. We really don't know much more, but I sort of find this hilarious. One thing that should be mentioned is if you ever get into a brawl, don't use a replica. It will not really serve you any purpose. Replicas aren't really made to be weapons. They're made to be decorations. And even the report says that the sword has been found in poor condition, bent from the trauma it endured from the blows Tazrick delivered with it. However, the district attorney noted while the edges were sharp, the tip was were blunt, the tip was sharp enough to be dangerous. So yeah, it might serve you some purpose, but it will probably not help you very much. So let's say you're going through a bad part of town, you just bought your cool Master Sword replica, and you get, you know, jumped on by a few thugs. You really shouldn't you shouldn't really try to use your sword to defend yourself. It won't do much. You know, they're usually made from like foam. Maybe if you're lucky, they're made from some wood, and then they could be used as a blunt object. And even if you really spend a lot of money and got a real metal sword, yeah, the edges will be blunt and they won't be sharp, and the sword will not do you any good. On top of that, if you actually use it and harm anybody with it, there's a good chance you will be going, at the very least, to jail, if not prison. Yeah, but I don't know, I sort of find this story funny to a degree. Like, who the hell picks up a sword off the wall to fight? The last time I remember seeing something like that was in a comedy series, probably most of you know, which is How I Met Your Mother. That is the only time where I ever saw something like this happening. I never saw anything like this in real life. So yeah, it is sort of hilarious that you would even try to use something like this. Please don't. If you really want to have a replica, buy a foam one. They're cheaper, they will serve the same purpose on the wall. And if you ever get angry enough to use them as a weapon, you will at least not hurt anybody. Okay, and our last piece of news for today is about the fact that GDC has decided to cancel an achievement award for the Atari founder Nolan Bushnell after a social media campaign that has happened, well, on Twitter, as these days campaigns tend to happen, which I still don't understand how the fuck can anybody succumb to some tweets. So what happened, Nolan Bushnell was supposed to get an award, you know, for being one of the person who actually brought the video gaming industry into life. It was supposed to be the GDCA's Lifetime Achievement Honor. And, well, after that, some people who didn't like him said, well, no, we don't want that to happen, because in the past, Mr. Bushnell was, well, yeah, let's be honest, he was quite a creep. It all started with a few tweets, like for example this one from Molly Prophet at Bitterwinsome, it's at Bitterwinsome, who said, at UBM, the Pioneer Wall Award at #GDC 2018 should represent all the women who did not have the opportunity to have a seat at the table because they wouldn't take a seat at the hot tub at Atari, #NotNolan, #MeToo. All this happened because, well, yeah, again, Mr. Bushnell was quite a creep. For example, during some past times, he described Bushnell as calling for a female assistant from a jacuzzi to bring in papers and then trying to lure her into the jacuzzi. There was another one where Mr. Bushnell said, some ladies feel comfortable around me and some don't. I find the aura of power and money is very intimidating to an awful number of girls. Yeah, I'm just not sure, you know, whether this is a good thing or a bad thing. On one hand, yeah, he was a creep. I think we can all easily agree on that. He was a creep, and that's just the thing. We can probably change him at this point. He's pretty old. He's 74. But the thing is, he still did a lot for the gaming industry. And he probably deserves that award for it. And the fact that he was a creep shouldn't have any merit on that. Maybe he shouldn't be a popular person. Maybe he shouldn't have a loving wife or something. But he did objectively do a lot of stuff for the gaming industry. Is it worth it to take his award away just because he was a creep 30 years ago? I honestly wouldn't. I would honestly still give him the award, but be like, while we don't agree with his past behavior, he still did a lot for the gaming industry. And I'm pretty sure I will get some flack for this, because people these days like to be hyper correct, you know, like PC. The thing is, it happened 20, 30 years ago, during the Atari 2600 era. That's a long fucking time ago. There was nothing like a smartphone back then. There was nothing like a good computer back then, by today's standard. Your phone today is more powerful than the machines they used back then. The amount of change that has happened since then is completely ridiculous. You know, that quote which I said was from 1976. That's 40, no. Yeah, that's 40 years ago. Maybe, that's just a ridiculous amount of time. People have had, some people might have grandchildren who were born at that year. And I don't think picking up goats from that far in the past is a good thing, as it essentially means, well, I was a jerk when I was a kid. Does that mean that I will not be able to get a job today? No, that shouldn't be the case. People learn over life. Some people were stupid when they were younger. He was 30, yeah, he was an adult, for sure, and he probably shouldn't have said those things. But also the society was quite different back then. Those things would have probably sounded pretty okay. Nobody would have cared at that point. And the fact that we care now shows that society has progressed and changed to the better. We don't allow people to say those things anymore without giving them some sort of a punishment. But punishing people who said something when it was okay to say that is bad. There's a pretty good thing in law which says you cannot punish somebody for something they did before the law was introduced. You know, let's use a very blatant example. Let's say stealing cryptocurrency wouldn't have been illegal in 1980, even though cryptocurrencies wouldn't have existed at that point. But let's say they did and you stole some. And 5 years later, there was a bill introduced that would say stealing cryptocurrencies is wrong. You still couldn't get punished. And we as a society should also honor that social agreement that we don't punish people for things they didn't knew were bad. Because at that point of time, that was considered pretty normal, especially in the tech industry. Well, let's be honest, many guys were probably creeps because they were engineering students and they didn't get exposed to women. They never learned to behave around women. And we're punishing them for being stupid? No, that's not how you do it. You teach them. You don't punish them, because if you punish them, they will never learn anything. And with that being said, that's going to be it for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please consider giving us a thumbs up here on YouTube and subscribing to our channel. If you are watching this on Steam, please consider giving us an upvote and following our blog. Be sure to also leave a comment. Tell me, what do you think the GDC award should have been left to Mr. Bushnell? Either way, be sure to tune in tomorrow for some more gaming news, as we're your source of daily gaming news every single day. And that's it, so see you guys later with more gaming content.